Channel 500 on Starset. You can catch us on all our social media platforms. It is on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. Also, we are also on YouTube at Galaxy Universal Network. And of course, I can never ever start the show without introducing my also bubbly Mr. Voice himself, Harmony Gambele.
Yes, thank you very much, Rosang. That was quite an intro. That was quite to everything.
I tried. You know how you always complain how I just do it short and just greet and move on to you. So I tried to actually extend it today. Did I do okay?
Yeah.
All right.
You're getting there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. On the 24th, I think you're going to give us an entire ambiance of greetings in all languages.
Watch the space. I'll even say it in Sesotho Sakogai.
No problem. Well, you're watching Midday Express right on Galaxy Universal Network. This is where we get to give you all the latest headlines, news and updates on the stories that have been happening throughout the day. And at this point, you're about to get into your headlines.
Yes, now as we move on to our headlines, now today we are celebrating World Rhino Day. And
Cyril Ramaphosa sends a message for the 75th commemoration of the United Nations, rather.
And our African Stories, Kenya's top judge wants Parliament to be dissolved.
And today we have a jam-packed interview session with CZA, and we are also joined by Anati, a gospel musician and also a designer.
Yes. Now, as we just move on into our first story for the day, as we know, we are celebrating World Rhino Day today. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, today we are celebrating World Rhino Day on the 22nd of September, which is today all 5 species of rhinos, black, white, great horned one, and actually the Samaritan and the javelin rhinos. And Rhino World Day was first announced by the World Wide Fund for Nature South Africa in 2010. It brings together NGOs, zoos, rhino sanctuaries, and concerned citizens across the globe to raise awareness and funds for the 5 species of rhinos, all of which are under threat from illegal rhino horn trade. Yes. And today in studio we'll be talking to one of the people that are from ProTrack Anti-Poaching Unit,
yes.
And it's going to be a conversation that we have via Zoom.
So we're talking to Chris and Bongani. Today we're going to be telling us a little bit more what ProTrack Anti-Rhino or Anti-Poaching rather unit is all about. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us on the show today.
Thank you very much for having us today.
Thank you.
So let's just get into it. Just tell us a little bit more what ProTrack Anti-Poaching Unit is all about.
So we an anti-poaching unit who is compiled by guys who want to obviously conserve our nature as well as protect our rhino, which we are dealing with at the moment. That's on very high threat. So we bring guys in and train them up so that they're capable to live and work and be surrounded by these animals in the bush all the time. And so that we can protect them and rather be with them to protect them.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, this will also include firearms training, it will also include human tracking and so on.
I wanted us to actually get into that you guys actually have a whole training session right there. We're just going to show people some of the videos of the intense training with that. So what exactly does that training entail?
So we put our guys through a 6-week training course, which they first got to apply to come and join us. They go through an extensive interview with us so that we can make sure we get the right guys to come and work in the environment. Then they join us for a 6-week training course, which is very mentally strenuous as well as physically strenuous. We put the guys through sleep deprivation. We make sure that our guys are going to be capable to live and work in the bush later on. So we teach out everything to the guys in terms of the worst case scenario. If you don't have water, if you need to make fire, if you come into contact with a poacher, if you find a spur or something that is found in the bush that shouldn't be there, what is the right way to go about doing it?
Oh, yeah. Well, this is quite a big one. But I'd like to know, since you go on the field, what have you experienced in the field, as you are mentioning that sometimes you can go on into the field and find poachers. As an anti-poaching unit, what are the various things or movements that you've been coming across in the field?
So firstly, we work in teams of 2, which is how our normal units would work. To deal with poachers, poachers normally come in groups of 3 to 4 guys at a time. So for us, we would initially first call for backup and work with the way we taught into simulating. We simulate quite a lot of these scenarios so that we know exactly the right procedure to go and apprehend a poacher. It doesn't take 2 guys. It takes 2 guys to collect the information, and it takes a team to stop 4 guys at a time.
100%.
So, Bongani, just tell me, does it mean that your guys actually live in the bushes just to make sure, just in case a poacher comes? I just really want some clarity on that.
100%, that's true. The guys sleep in the bush, they stay there. They can stay there from 16 days to 21 days in the bush. They sleep on the ground. There's animals there, there's crawlies, they stay there. That's what they taught from training.
Oh, well, one would swear that it is a military training. And I guess what you go through is military training, making sure that our species are well taken care of. But what is the significance as an anti-poaching initiative that you are running? How does it affect within the civilians that are coming in, and take me through that process?
So we take the guys on a recruitment basis to work with us and work in the bush for at least a year, so that they can experience obviously the nature and what it has to offer. It's sorry.
Yeah, it's amazing how from day one to the guy finishing the year and doing all the training and also going back to the community, giving back to the community. For example, we've got a small organization that's not far from where we are. We go there, we teach from those little ones from the early age, so they know and they respect and understand the perception that people also have regarding for rangers. Because now most people think that rangers are scary people and they should be scared of them. So now we go to these young people, these civilized people in the community, and we teach them and we open up to them and we teach them about these amazing animals that we have.
Now,
we're perceived as bad people, so we don't want to be seen as bad people. We're there to help the community as well.
Now, I just want us talk us through maybe the field, some of the scariest things that you've seen, because I'm sure you've had different kinds of experiences. Just tell us a little bit about those.
So myself, we got called out early in the morning at about 6 or so. We had to go through to a farm not far from here. When we got there, there was a rhino carcass seen from a few hours before. When we got there, there was obviously the rhino lying on the ground. Her calf was running around, trying to protect the mother in a way. You know, he's dehydrated and very scared. And the mother still had blood coming from where the horn was hacked off with an axe. And really a gruesome scene, not something that somebody should really see on a daily basis.
So as I'm listening to you are painting a picture to us on what happened this morning, but how can you make sure that you apprehend all the people that are doing this thing? Because clearly they've done it a couple of hours ago. Can you get to them in that amount of space when you know that an animal is down, a rhino's down? What can you do at that given time to make sure that the suspects are apprehended?
So we do everything in our power to try and catch them before, obviously, they even think about going onto a farm. But there are cases where the guard will get around us. I mean, a poacher is a person, and people are clever, and people have ways of doing this. A poacher could be doing the same training as what we're doing with our guys. Like I said, we teach our guys to catch a poacher, you must become a poacher. You must become one with the nature and environment around you. So it takes a lot to catch at least 4 guys. It takes helicopters, dogs, people on the ground, guys in vehicles. It's a lot of guys to put together just to catch 4 guys.
Sure.
And another thing to add on that, we must also understand that these guys don't only work for themselves. They've got a person who's in charge of them. That person's got money from all the tools, and if in case maybe they get arrested, there's a possibility of that person getting a bail, and you see him on the following day or following week, and so on.
Sure. It's quite sad. I must commend you for the initiative that you are taking. But now I also want us to talk maybe more on the misconceptions that people actually have about poaching rhinos for their homes. Why do people actually go about poaching these rhinos for their homes?
So it's believed in the Asian medicinal trade that the rhino horn can cure certain things. it can cure asthma or a stomach bug, or helping with a cough. But these have never been scientifically proven to help in any way. So it's old traditions that have followed through the years that we now need to teach and uplift and upskill people to change their perception and change their tradition, and give them what we have now in our age and the technology we have. We don't need to take a rhino for a horn that's only going to make you say 100 tablets at a time.
Sure.
Well, Mr. Bongane, take me through the process of it being a career, because I think we have a lot of people that don't even understand about it being a career, something that you could look into, study if possible, get a degree in understanding what is happening, whether the logistics behind being an anti-poacher, is there business within it, and how can a young person or a person that is already within a working space and they love wildlife, they love rhinos but want to get involved, how can they take through processes to get involved with you guys?
It is easy. First of all, what you need as a person to come and join us, it's easy. You need discipline, self-discipline. Start from you. It starts from you, because once you come here, we teach you from day one. We teach you how to make your own bed. Simple stuff like that. Just self-discipline, and also training, lots of training. We do a lot of training, physical work, and also mentally-wise, you must be prepared mentally-wise. It doesn't matter. It might be a career, it might be a study. As long as you've got yourself with the right mentality, you'll be able to do it.
And now I just want
doing research.
Sorry. Yes,
doing research. Do research before you get involved. Before you get into that career, you must do research. Find out more.
No, and then I just wanted to talk maybe more on the funding part as well. How do people contribute to the initiative?
So they could get hold of our ProTrack anti-poaching unit on Facebook and all obviously the media platforms, and speak to the lady there. We try and take obviously cash funding, because cash funding is how we pay for guys to go to communities and guys that come from the communities to do our training, so that we can give them work in the long run. And also we like to go and help people across the border, like the Mozambican border, where we work with another foundation called Wild and Free, uplifting communities where the poaching is necessarily the highest at the moment. So yeah, get on our Facebook page, and they will put you in touch with the right people.
Yeah. Well, still we are celebrating on this day. It's Rhino, and it's all about rhinos today. But what is the message that you have to say to South Africans, to people watching, to poachers? What is the importance of this day? What can they learn about it, since we all have this platform to educate ourselves and to educate the whole of Africa at this point about rhinos and anti-poaching?
It is very important that people out there, they understand that rhinos and they understand the different rhinos that we have, and they understand that what's really important that we keep them, because most of the guys locally, their parents work in the game reserves. That's how they get their income. And if we lose all of these animals, that means there's more higher rates of unemployment. And if we can keep this and keep our tourism going, this is more jobs, and the other generation that comes in, they can also get employed and understand what's happening.
If we've got nothing to show anymore, nobody's going to come and see it.
Sure.
And yeah, that's the bottom line.
We must 100%. We must also understand that if you look at the rhino itself, it's got no use in the African tradition. Sure. It's only used like abroad. So that's like taking from our own pockets, from our own dish that's placed in front of us, killing our own selves.
Sure, that is such a deep statement. I really felt that, wow, if you take, then we won't have anything else to show for it. But thank you guys, thank you gentlemen for joining us today and informing us a little bit more on anti-poaching. I really think it's information we really appreciate and would have loved to hear.
Cool, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. Now we have got a videos right there of the intensive training session. Let's just have a look at that.
It's in danger. Let him go.
Go after the tree.
After the tree, yeah.
Safety.
Cock.
Up, up, up. Get up. Straight, straight, straight. Move. Oh, surprise, surprise. Down. Sit up, up. Sit up, up. Does it burn? Does it burn? Yes, bro. Does it burn? Yes, bro. You're still alive. You're still alive. Down. Up. Go. Up. Down. Down. Up. Down.
Intense training.
I mean,
what they're going through.
Yeah, to make sure that our rhinos are well saved. I mean, like, I really commend them for the initiative that they're taking. But as we move on into the second story, now in commemoration of the 75th anniversary of the United Nations General Assembly, President Cyril Ramaphosa sent a pre-recorded statement during the high-level meeting on Monday. Now, Ramaphosa said that South Africa is honored to take part in this virtual commemoration of the establishment of the United Nations. He said that the task is to chart the course for a transformative and inclusive future in the aftermath of the coronavirus pandemic, and do it in a manner that respects the worth and the dignity of every human being. Now, let's just have a look at that. Now, the president further added that in order to resolve global challenges, the world has to work together, and the UN system is the best way to address and overcome global challenges. Now, let's just have a look at the president actually now talking on this matter of actually, you know, coming together as a world, as the world,
as the
basically.
world, rather.
Yes, yes. Okay, it's just unfortunately, it just seems like we can't. We're just having technical glitches right there, but we can just link into it a little bit later on. But just moving on into our next story, Harmony.
Absolutely, as we're taking a look into our African stories, rather, Kenya's Chief Justice David Maranga has asked President Uhuru Kenyatta to dissolve Parliament because it does not have enough female MPs. In a letter to Mr. Kenyatta, the Chief Justice said the failure to have more females MPs was a breach of constitution and was as good as discrimination against women. This constitution states that one gender group cannot occupy more than 2/3 of the parliamentary seats. However, women hold fewer than the mandatory 116 seats in the 350-member cabinet. So the Chief Justice added that he is now legally required to advise the president to dissolve Parliament. And he continues to say that Kenya's new constitution was introduced in 2010 and the 2/3 gender rule should have been implemented 5 years ago.
And so we see there actually, transformative part in Africa wanting more women to actually be in power, which is, I commend them for that as well. But let's just go for a quick ad break right here on the Midday Express. And when we come back, we have an interview with CZA's Vicky, who's going to be telling us more about her beautiful, the Northern Cape. Actually, I think we don't necessarily hear a lot about the Northern Cape.
Yes.
So just stay tuned right here on the Midday Express. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
China's saying that the latest outbreak is under control.
Feel the heat.
The cabinet has decided to ease restrictions on certain other economic activities.
I don't want to be a white person who sits by and does nothing, so that's why I'm here today.
Feel the excitement.
We are here to unite, because what we are fighting for is to stop institutional racism.
Feel the heat with StarSat.
Tech Talk brought to you by Tamani Technologies and Systems. Tamani Technologies and Systems takes leadership in fourth industrial revolution. The whole world is facing a transformation. The revolution will be developed into the following stages: digitization, cyber security, Internet of Things, managed services, document management, and business applications. We provide business transformation and ICT solutions with presence in 13 African countries and 2 European countries. We are your leading partner in integrated platform providers, innovation leaders, standalone products, and innovation pace setters. Tamani Technologies and Systems, delivering value across continents.
Well, welcome back from the ad break. You're still watching a Midday Express right here on Galaxy Universal Network, channel 500. And thank you very much for joining us right there live on Facebook as we continue with our headlines and stories.
Yes. Now, moving on into our feature, as you know, for this month, we have a tourism feature and a heritage feature. And today we are joined by Vinky from CZA, who's going to be telling us a little bit more about her tourism company, rather. So she is from Vinky's Tourism and Enterprise. Thank you so much, Vinky, for joining us.
Thank you.
How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm fine.
Vinky?
Seems like we've got a little bit of a technical glitch
problem
there. Vinky, hello, can you hear us?
And we seem to have lost Vicky at this point, but we'll try and reconnect with her later on. But as we continue with our stories.
Yes. Now, for the next story, do apologize for the sensitive content that you're about to see. Now, the mysterious death of 350 elephants in the Okavango Delta in Botswana between May and June left a lot of conversationalists baffled. Now, some theories suggested that the elephants were killed by a rodent virus known as the EMC, or toxins from algal blooms. Now, Principal Officer at the Botswana Department of Wildlife and National Parks, Madi Ruben, said in a news conference on Monday that the latest tests have been detected cyanobacterial neurotoxins to be the cause of the deaths, and these are bacteria that are found in water. Now, Madi said that, however, they have many questions still to be answered, such as why elephants are the only ones dying and why that area only. And they have a number of hypotheses that they are investigating till today.
Rhinos, elephants
as well.
What more do we need?
But I think the great question right there was why elephants only and not necessarily anything else, and why that area. So like they said, there'll still be investigations on the matter to actually see exactly what the cause of these
deaths are.
But at least they also just said it's bacteria for now, but then like we said, the investigations will further show what.
And I hope we really have a great investigative team put on that, because these are wildlife. This is what part of our big five. These are the kind of animals that tourists come in to see, because South Africa is such beautiful variety of animals, of culture, of everything. If we are taking that away, then it becomes a hard one.
And if you see now it's in Botswana, it was also in Zimbabwe as well. So like hopefully they'll actually get a cure for whatever's happening. But as we just move on into our second story.
Yes, as we take a look at our African stories, as we're continuing, heavy rains have caused flash floods and rivers to burst in the banks of Sudan, and thousands of people, including refugees, internally and families have been left desperate in support. And 15 people have unfortunately died, including an 18-month-old baby, and 23 more people remain missing. And the floods have left their devastating effect. As many as 170,000 people have been left without a place and very impacted by the place. And we're actually looking at thousands of families urgently needing shelter, as many homes and community buildings have been badly damaged or destroyed. Hygiene levels and plummeted, and they are still looking for supplies and water, and some healthcare facilities have been affected, which threatens the ability to treat patients and respond to COVID-19 pandemic. And let's have a look at what has been happening in that side of our African country. And help came flooding in from America, with food parcels being delivered to the hard-hit country. Take a look at this.
I think what we can see from this is actually people coming in and actually helping with food parcels. It's quite beautiful to actually see the world coming together to assist such countries that have been hard hit. So big ups to all the countries that have been assisting in such hard times. And what's sad is, you know, an 18-month baby that had died. Unfortunately, some lives have been lost, but we actually see people actually coming back and helping out to the hard hit country.
Yeah, man, it's a hard one. It's really a hard one, knowing that you can't even control a flood. You can't control anything.
That's the thing.
Nothing. You can't even anticipate it. You can't prepare for it. But it's happening in that moment, and you're losing valuables. People have lost buildings. Cars that they've bought on their lost savings, mortgages that they've paid for on their lost savings. So it's really a hard one that has hit the country, and knowing that other countries are actually helping out, saying here's food, here's what we can help, and there's aid helping in the country.
But seems like we've got Vinky back on the line. Vinky, hello, thank you so much for joining us.
It's fine, thank you. I'm so sorry for the phone.
No, don't you worry. As long as we connected now, we can have this beautiful conversation with you. That's all that matters.
Okay.
All right, Vinky. So just getting into it, Robin, you can just go ask the first question.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to actually tell us more about Vinky Tourism and Enterprise. What is it about, and what is it that you guys do at Vinky Enterprise?
Okay. As you know, my name is Vinky van der Westhuizen. I'm a Komani-San Bushman lady in the heartbeat of the Kalahari. It's where the Komani-San people stay, and which is the oldest native tribe that date back over years. They were characterized by the bow and arrow shooting, the handmade crafts they do with their hands, and the survival techniques. Therefore, I started Vinky's Tourism Enterprise with the support of our local guides and Bushman trekkers. And the Bushman trekkers is also known as medicinal plant specialists. And Vinky's Tourism Enterprise also offer guided tours. We do trekking with the Bushman trekker, showing people animal tracks, the trees, the plants, and we do bow and arrow shooting and craft making. We do sundowners on a high red dune or in an open pen with a Bushman elder telling old stories under the openness of the stars. And you can end your day with traditional dance entertainment where the men do dancing and the women do the clapping and singing. And after that, traditional food also. And the other reason I started Vinky's Tourism Enterprise is because I'm so passionate about sharing our age-old indigenous knowledge to keep our tradition alive for generations to come. And this is all that my father learned me.
Vinky, I'm such... That is so interesting. I would have said the Khoisan, it's a history that we don't actually tap into. Unfortunately, you can see technology is doing the things, but I would have really loved to have a longer conversation on that, because it's quite different. I think with everything that we've been seeing, we've seen your new age form of tourism and not necessarily tapping into our heritage. Where we
to the core of it. And I would have loved to hear the clicks, because there's this beautiful, I don't know if you called it a language, but it's the clicks, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, but hopefully we can actually then maybe connect with her tomorrow or later on in the week just to hear a little bit more on this, because it's quite really interesting. But allow us to go for a quick ad break right here, and when we come back, we have got, who did you say?
Anati. We have Anati here.
Gospel singer.
Yeah, gospel singer, yes.
Yes, as we're still celebrating our heritage right here on the Midday Express. Just stay tuned, don't you go anywhere. We'll be back right after this.
China's saying that the latest outbreak is under control.
Feel the heat.
The cabinet has decided to ease restrictions on certain other economic activities.
I don't want to be a white person who sits by and does nothing, so that's why I'm here today.
Feel the excitement.
We are here to unite, because what we are fighting for is to stop institutional racism.
Feel the heat with Starsat.
Tech Talk brought to you by Tamani Technologies and Systems. Tamani Technologies and Systems takes leadership in fourth industrial revolution. The whole world is facing a transformation. The revolution will be developed into the following stages: digitization, cyber security, Internet of Things, managed services, document management, and business applications. We provide business transformation and ICT solutions with presence in 13 African countries and 2 European countries. We are your leading partner in integrated platform providers, innovation leaders, standalone products, and innovation pace setters. Tamani Technologies and Systems, delivering value across continents.
Welcome back from the ad break, rather, and you're still watching Midday Express right here on Galaxy Universal Network, and we're still going to continue giving guys all the latest news and headlines.
Now, just to go back, remember we had a technical glitch with Cyril Ramaphosa actually talking on the commemoration of the 75th.
South Africa is honored to participate in this virtual commemoration of the establishment of the United Nations. 75 years ago, the UN Charter was signed by pioneering men and women determined to save successive generations from the scourge of war. The task before us is to chart the course for a transformative and inclusive future in the aftermath of the coronavirus pandemic, and to do so in a manner that respects the worth and dignity of every human being. This year, we celebrate 75 years of solidarity and friendship. We are steadfast in our belief that the United Nations is and must forever remain the foremost guarantor of world peace. To resolve our global challenges, be they health emergencies, transnational crime, conflict and war, climate change, migration, or natural disasters, we must work together. The UN system is the best means by which we can address and overcome these global challenges. It is only through multilateralism that we can forge common strategies for the benefit and advancement of all. To realize a just and humane world, the UN must be fit for purpose, adequately funded, and representative in its decision-making structures. We must ensure that the sovereign equality of nations is protected.
Now, as we know that Sir Ramaphosa, right, they said that in order to resolve global challenges and that the world has to work together and the UN system is the best way to address and overcome global challenges. Now, let's just see the rest of the president talking there, right there on the matter.
Unilateral coercive measures and violations of international law must be dealt with firmly and consistently. We must strengthen the UN's coordination with regional bodies such as the African Union to ensure our efforts are complementary and mutually reinforcing. Global peace is not just about a world free of conflict. It is also a world free of poverty, inequality, and underdevelopment. It is a world of inclusive economic growth and shared prosperity. It is a world where young people are able to grow and thrive, and a world where women have equal rights and opportunities. It is only in meeting the Sustainable Development Goals that we shall truly see the fruits of our labor and fully reap the harvest of our cooperation. The United Nations remains the most effective means to meet our collective goal and to broaden the frontiers of human endeavor and development. On this day that We wish the United Nations well and longevity into the future. Let us recommit to the ideals of the UN Charter. Let us strengthen the bonds of cooperation, solidarity, and friendship. I thank you.
And now we are done with our hard stories now, and we are into our favorite feature
of the day.
Now, for our heritage feature today, we have Anati in studio. African Matrix in the building.
I was waiting for that.
I must say, thank you so much for joining us, Anati, on the show today.
Well, I think into abantu abaninzi abangayazi ngawe is that you do gospel music, futhi uyathunga at the same time. Take us through ba waqala nini yonke loo nto.
Okay, mandiqale ndibulise. Ndibulise kuwe, ndibulise kusisi. Njengoba usisi setshilo ke igama lami Anathi Sonyabashe, ndi-gospel artist. Ndaqala early age. I think I was 13 to 14 years ukucula. So ndacula kwi-local groups, then from there ndayobhekisha kwi-Lusanda Spiritual Group. After i-Lusanda Spiritual Group ndaqala ke ngoku ezami project from 2005. My first album 2005. So now I have 7 albums.
What?
7?
Yes.
All right. Okay. For anybody that's not from South Africa and does not understand isiXhosa, you know, this is one of our native languages is Xhosa, and it's just talking about how you started singing gospel, and I was a backup singer for the Lusanda Gospel Group at the age of 14. 13 and 14, right there. Impressive, impressive. Now walk us through mhlambe now the attire. Did you make this yourself?
Yes, I make it for myself. Yes, I'm doing sewing, fashion designer, and also music.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Can you just walk us through this piece in Mhlambe? What inspired it to just look the way it is? Ndiyenthenga amalaphu. Ndihlanganise ndibone ukuthi kungaphuma ntoni. Mandibona maybe ndingene shop ndinokubona this material, and then mandibona yona ndiyibona ukuthi ndingenzani ngayo. So we are creator from scratch.
Oh, wow, so that's beautiful, and I think that Orosang is going to be our interpreter, and then we're going to speak in isiXhosa. Because it's Heritage Month, you know?
And I think we need you to embrace
it. But I think from now, I think umbuzo ndinawo kuba umuntu maxa sejongile emakhaya befuna ukuthungelwa ingaba imali le oyinxibileyo kuwe ngoku.
Yo, le ndiyinxibileyo xa ndiyithungela omnye umuntu hayi noba ndiduri kakhulu, not expensive. At least around 1,200.
1,200 is not expensive.
Now
for this.
Oh, but for the whole thing, okay, okay, all right.
Because it's a jacket. Yes.
That's why I say 1,200 is very reasonable, because icon and feature it's very long.
Yes.
And then what other types of clothes do you have in Mhlambe? We see this is one of them. Do you have in Mhlambe things for abosmame, you know, the little ones and all of that?
Yes, I'm also doing for the women's. But I'm based with traditional clothes. I'm doing this swear full dresses, the swear amaJerman. Sithilethi ngamaJerman.
NgamaJerman.
Ndiyayitunga amaJerman, ndiyawathunga imibhaco.
So I think for yabona silapha eAfrica abantu abaninzi bamangela uba umbhaco into enjani ishweshwe, and I guess zizinto esizinxibayo thina kakhulu apha eSouth Africa. So within going back into your music, zintoni izinto ezinkulu okay wazenza nawe wazibona ba hayi ngoku sendiyaqina ndinguNathi ndingulo muntu endinguye umculo wami uyafika ebandleni nasebantwini.
Cause xa uqala umculo uqala kwami umculo andingazi ukuthi i-direction izonthatha from there to where. So ngokuya ndihamba ndafumana kama-invitations, ndiyaperforma kuma-big show, big events, kwi-stadiums, kuma-churches, nakuma-gospel concerts. So and also sharing stage with big artists. So now I'm national artist, not local artist. That is why ke ndisitsho sithi at least ngoku istage endikuso si-stage sa any artist.
kuyavakala uba 7 albums iziphumile abantu sebeyakwazi and that now umculo wakho ngokusoyathengwa ngabantu kukhona nawe okufumanayo ecaleni lakho.
Yes, I get royalties and I get bookings, so loo nto ibonisa ukuthi at least ndikhulile ngokwasemculweni.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and say this in Xhosa now,
yes.
Right? So nifuna ukwazi ukuba manje usithola phi isikhathi ukuthi uthunge upromote album yakho ucule ngaleso sikhathi as well?
During the week I'm doing sewing.
Okay.
Then on the weekends I'm going to perform. Yes, so I have time for both music and fashion design.
And now umfuna ukwazi ukuthi manje ukuthi like we can see ukuthi you're a jack of all trades, you do everything.
Yes, I'm doing everything.
Umfuna ukwazi manje ukuthi we know ukuthi COVID-19 has hit unfortunately the art industry very bad. Umfuna ukwazi ukuthi mhlambe after manje post COVID-19 what can we expect from Wanathi?
Yeah, isibethile yona kakhulu. Asafuna uyithethe indaba yakhe hayi isibethe kakhulu i-COVID-19, so sizawuvuka ke ngosivuthulule sitsho ngithi na sizawuvuka sivuthulule. I'm planning ukwenza i-city launch.
Okay.
I'm already done with the new album, number 7th album. So now I'm going to promote this album and doing events and then doing city launch, but I like to do in Cape Town city launch for this album.
Yes.
Ndiyithanda spiritual. So normally uma spiritual kumele ulandele umoya ukuthi umoya wakho this time uthi yangaphi.
Okay. So ayidibananga namanzi aseKapa asinganawe eGauteng.
No, akusilwane. So ndizoyenza Cape Town city launch, but ke i-date ne-venue andikayi-confirm because if bengakhange beyi-lockdown bendiplane i-5 bekumele ngabe nge-5 kaSeptember ndiyengayenza, so yadisturbeka ke because COVID-19. So now I'm planning i-date ne-venue for this event.
Well, Rasang, I love how ukuzvuthulula. Now I'm putting you on the spot. What does it mean ukuzvuthulula?
With what? English?
In English.
Like I know
yes.
Just
dust yourself
off and get right back into track. You know, got me there.
I nearly got you right there.
But let's just get some time the way they can get a hold of you just before we get into your beautiful performance.
Okay. Ndikhona ku Facebook.
Okay.
Anathi Sonyabashe, ndikhona ku Twitter still Anathi Sonyabashe. I think umuntu kaSinto wathetha ku Facebook into ze contacts details wasifumana from there.
Okay.
Yes.
Siyabonga
abulela thina nyani.
Hayi uvile kubani samfumana phi ngithethile nje.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for tuning with us right here on Midday Express. As always, siniphathela bona abantu abangongqa phambili kuzo zonke izinto abazenzayo. Namhlanje siniphathele the one and only uAnathi Sonyabashe, who is a gospel musician, a designer also, and he just said, and he brought us such a beautiful conversation rather, where he says COVID-19 has affected them as an industry, where they have to dust themselves off as we're on alert level 1 so that they can start preparing for his brand new 7th album launch, and he's launching it in Cape Town. But right about now we're about to get into a performance.
We're going to get into performance, but let's just close it off for the people and we just allow Anathi just to close off the show for us. Do catch us again, same time, same place, right here on the Midday Express. From myself, Rosanwanathani. And
myself, Homnim Bailey. This is Adios. But before that, we have a performance.
China saying that the latest outbreak is under control.
Feel the heat.
The cabinet has decided to ease restrictions on certain other economic activities.
I don't want to be a white person who sits by and does nothing, so that's why I'm here today.
Feel the excitement.
We are here to unite, because what we are fighting for is to stop institutional racism.
Feel the heat with StarSat.
Tech Talk brought to you by Tamani Technologies and Systems. Tamani Technologies and Systems takes leadership in 4th Industrial Revolution. The whole world is facing a transformation. The revolution will be developed into the following stages: digitization, cyber security, Internet of Things, managed services, document management, and business applications. We provide business transformation and ICT solutions with presence in 13 African countries and 2 European countries. We are your leading partner in integrated platform providers, innovation leaders, standalone products, and innovation pace setters. Tamani Technologies and Systems, delivering value across continents.
Feel the heat.
I love Adam Selman.
The girls are really thin. I think it looks very glamorous from the outside.
The life of a model in New York City.
There is such cool prints. So many.
You know, I'm buying this.
Look at me and all the selfie sort of thing. Honestly, I didn't really know that was actually a job. It just didn't occur to me.
Congratulations. Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat. Feel the heat.
Chicken portions are an easy way to feed a crowd.
I've just started to incorporate all my ingredients.
We're going to put this inside of a hot cast iron skillet.
You want to really fill up on great protein.
It's now time to sample the chef's dish. Look at this.
I know.
Like that?
Feel the excitement.
The chicken is on the spot.
Feel the heat.
So